"Look through the gap in the stairs," my 4-year-old niece said, tugging at my sleeve. I glanced at my husband, lying unconscious on a hospital bed. Just a week ago, he was attacked by a burglar, who is still at large. When I got home, I remembered my niece's strange advice and checked the stairs. In a small crevice, I found something stained with blood. I was shocked. Could someone familiar be involved? Fear took hold of me. I work in administration at a real estate agency. Last year, I married William, one of our salesmen. We're both 25 and had always talked about starting a family soon. Why? Because I have a sister and her daughter, Lucy, is so sweet. Seeing my niece laugh or pout makes me think about us as parents. Lucy has a peculiar knack. "Aunt Jessica, your ring is on the bookshelf," she'd say whenever I misplaced something. My sister even joked, "If you're in trouble, ask Lucy." Good things happen. They say children can see ghosts, but I wonder if there's more to it. Maybe our future child will have special talents too. We dreamed of a family, but our married life started on a rocky note. Soon after our wedding, we began receiving disturbing letters addressed to William. The message was clear: break up and disappear. Seeing how scared I was, William said, "It's just a prank. I'll report it to the police." He did, but the sender remained unknown, and we were anxious every day. One day, John, a colleague of William's, came to my office. Why was someone from sales visiting me? When I approached him, he handed me a note with the same ominous message: disappear. I gasped as John looked at me with a serious expression. This was found on William's desk. As a rising star in sales, he had made enemies. Many saw him as a nuisance. "It's troubling," John said, crumpling the note. "I've known William since we both started here. If you need anything, just ask." He gave me a reassuring smile. I was shocked by William's situation, but having John as an ally was comforting. My sister also came by, concerned for us. Despite the troubling letters, we stayed strong with the support we had. I was determined to stand by William. We had no idea what was coming next. While attending a friend's wedding on a Saturday, my sister called in a panic. "Jessica, William is unconscious. Come back right away." I was stunned. William was supposed to be home after working overtime. "Jessica, he was stabbed during a break-in," my sister continued. Her words were hard to process. I rushed to the hospital and found William pale and still. "William, wake up," I pleaded, holding his hand, but he didn't respond. The beeping of the machines filled the room as tears streamed down my face. I wondered why this was happening. My sister, who had been waiting, tried to comfort me. The police said our neighbor found William collapsed and bleeding from a stab wound while delivering a community newsletter. Normally, the neighbor's habit of opening our door without knocking would be annoying, but it turned out to be a blessing in this case, leading to William's early discovery. Given the recent burglaries in the area, the police suspected the same person was responsible. It has to be the same person who sent those letters. I've already talked to the police about it. I told my sister. She interrupted, "I'll handle talking to the police. You need a break." I regretted attending the wedding. If only I hadn't gone, maybe William would be safe, I thought. I prayed for his recovery, but even a week later, he remained unconscious, and the attacker was still free. I spoke to William, connected to tubes in his hospital room. "Our anniversary is coming up soon. Where would you like to go?" But he didn't respond. I tried to stay positive, but it was difficult. Tears kept flowing despite my efforts. John, who had been visiting daily with flowers and treats, was there. "Sorry for showing you this," I said, quickly wiping away my tears. John leaned in and said, "Don't worry about it." Just then, I heard a small voice behind me. "Aunt Jessica, who's this?" I turned around to see my niece, Lucy, looking curious. It was her first visit. My sister quickly said to Lucy, "Come on," before turning to John. "Sorry for the intrusion." "Family, huh? I'll leave you to it," John said, giving a brief nod to my sister. He placed the flowers down and left. "I'm sorry for the surprise visit." Lucy insisted on seeing William, my sister said, though Lucy seemed focused on William, staring at him intently. "Uncle is saying, look into the gap in the stairs." "There's a barge," Lucy suddenly said. "A barge? You mean one of those big ships, and it's under the stairs." My sister urged, Lucy might be onto something. "Check it out." She looked serious. As we continued our visit, hours passed. My sister drove me home and said, "Call me if anything happens." But was there really a gap under the stairs? I recalled William being found collapsed on the stairs, covered in blood. The police had cleaned up, but I decided to check. I opened the front door and examined the stairs. I found a small gap at the edge of the bottom step. Shining a flashlight in, I saw something reflecting. I used tweezers to pull it out. To my surprise, it was a company badge. "This is a company badge," I noted. "Our employees wear these as ID." The badge was blood-stained and seemed to have been pushed into the gap. The police had mentioned an unusual scratch on William's fingertip. Could he have pushed something into the gap? Maybe this badge is a clue from William about the culprit. I immediately called my sister. "I found something. Let's go report it to the police." As my sister was bustling around, I heard Lucy's voice. "If there's no barge you need later, it's troublesome for one person who's being a nuisance." "Another riddle. Is this part of the case?" I asked, but Lucy just giggled. Her riddle about the stairs might be another clue about the perpetrator. I stared at the blood-stained company badge in my hand. It seemed William had left a crucial clue during his desperate struggle. I promised myself I would find the criminal and seek justice. I quickly handed the badge to the police and then visited my niece. "If there's no barge you need later, it's troublesome for one person who's being a nuisance," Lucy had said. Her words puzzled me, so I asked for more. "Lucy, what do you mean by needing a barge later? Are you saying it's too late?" Lucy shook her head. "No, not like that." I was still confused. "When you say it's troublesome for one person who's being a nuisance, does it refer to the number of people? Would 2 people be less bothersome?" Lucy replied, "No, that's not it. It's about being bothersome." She looked smug, but I was no closer to understanding. Frustrated, I left her house and went to a cafe to clear my head. While sipping my coffee, a man in a suit at the next table stood up, accidentally leaving his phone behind. "Excuse me, you forgot your phone," I said. He hurried back, relieved, and said, "Thank you. It's my work phone." Losing it would mean writing an incident report. That's when it hit me. I dashed back to my workplace, and the pieces fell into place. 5 days later, I was back at the hospital with my unconscious husband. John came by and asked, "It's been a while. Why haven't you been at work? I didn't see you at the hospital either." I was worried. Ignoring the flowers he brought, I looked him in the eye and asked, "Why did you stab my husband, despite visiting him so often?" John's face went pale. "What are you talking about? Isn't the culprit a burglar?" He tried to smile, but it seemed forced. I pulled out the blood-stained badge from under the stairs and showed it to him. "Is this our company's badge?" The barge my niece mentioned wasn't a ship, but the company badge. We'd been getting harassing letters, and my husband hid the badge to expose the culprit. It wasn't a random burglar, but someone within the company. I looked at John firmly. You don't really think I'm suspecting you, do you? After everything I've done? He reached for my hand, trying to smile, but it was strained. I pulled my hand away and showed him a copy of his disciplinary report from HR. Lucy's mention of a barge actually referred to the letter of apology needed after losing his badge. 2 days after William was stabbed, John wrote the incident report. Could this be William's badge? His own badge was accounted for at home. I dismissed John's excuses. He looked frustrated but was determined. You're shaken up because of William's stabbing. From now on, I'll be there for you in his place, he said. I sidestepped him and pulled out documents from my bag. The drive recorder data from the company car he used. You were at our place during the incident, though there were no business reasons for it, right? As the company's drive data manager, I checked John's movements. The data was locked to prevent tampering, so any attempt to erase it would be visible. Did you have feelings for me? I asked, watching John squirm. After talking to colleagues, it became clear John had harbored feelings for me and resented William for supposedly taking me away. Lucy's riddle about a nuisance meant that William's presence was an obstacle to John's plans. You harassed us because you wanted us to break up. That's disgusting. John's anger flared at the word disgusting. I liked you more than William ever did. I thought scaring you would make you break up with him. He stumped in frustration. When the letters didn't work, I put a weapon in your mailbox to scare you into breaking up. Unfortunately for him, William came home early and caught John with the knife. John's anger grew. John then accused me. Do you know how terrified Jessica is? I was warned never to come near her again. So, in your rage, you used that knife to stab my husband. Yes, it was all for you. Now I just need to finish him off. John, defiant, lunged toward the bed, trying to strangle William. I rushed to stop him, struggling with John. Just then, William's weak voice cut through the chaos. Enough already. John paused, caught off guard. I used the moment to push him with all my strength. He slammed into the door, which tore the curtain he had grabbed. The hospital staff rushed in, alarmed by the commotion. Call the police, I shouted. The staff quickly restrained John and made emergency calls. When the police arrived and I explained the situation, they took John into custody. John cried out, "We were so close to being happy." What are you talking about? There was never any chance for you. I stared at John, pushing him away firmly. I've always loved my husband. Your claims mean nothing. The only person I love is my husband. Stay away from me forever, I said. As John was led away, he muttered angrily. William later regained consciousness and testified against John, leading to his conviction. John faced about 7 years in prison and would likely struggle financially after losing his job. Today, I had my sister and Lucy over for lunch with William. As we sat around the table, Lucy grinned and said, "The new chair isn't just one. It's two." William and I exchanged glances. It looks like we're expecting twins. I'll need to see the